What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Welcome to Texas Podcast. Thank you for all the day ones, all the new subscribers, all the likes, all the comments, all the feedback. Man, thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. I will continue on this Mark Moore saga and exposing him and Dante for who they really are. How can I say one's a sexual deviant, one's promoting the deviant, and you can call them for what they are. Right now, I'm gonna play the second part of the, I guess you call the deleted scenes or unedited version of the documentary, which is 5 parts. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna let it run. I will stop it when a kid comes up or his daughter. I don't want that to be shown or get blamed, even through it's part of the documentary. Uh, Later on in the day, I will do it live with Bobby and Youngblood. I just it's spring break and I just don't be feel like doing it, honestly. But we must continue to expose these guys. You know, I know they're out there still lurking in the shadows, scheming and plotting. And I gotta be that spotlight. You know, uh I gotta keep it on them. It's on them because Mark wasn't giving he wasn't giving no passes out. Neither was Dante. I've been called everything from you name it, from a victim, doping, anything you can name to try to discredit or make somebody stop. Which reverse psychology, it works, but doesn't work on everybody. It works on him though. You just have to apply it. On him, it's just. Let me get to the video, man.
I grew up in Pritchard with my grandmother, my mother. Um, Lived there all my life.
With a technical difficulty, sorry about that.
Full of drugs, prostitution, murders. Basically, just the straight ghetto. My hood, Crenshaw Mafia. I'm saying, basically, what it says at the top: bees make the world go round. Meaning, bloods make the world go round. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying. I love blood with all my heart. I joined at a young age. Um, it was more so like a family to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't grow up with a father or uncles or nothing like that. No father figure. So I looked up to the Bloods as like role model.
He didn't like our lifestyle. He wasn't accustomed to going by rules and all that. He just did it. He wanted to do just what he wanted to do. And when he wasn't around and got with the wrong crew, the wrong fellas, I guess he began to be part of the crowd. Doing just illegal stuff.
My case is really simple. Um, I shot a guy in the projects. He was an opposite gang member. I got 20 years for it.
See, I wouldn't know what a blood is. I've never dealt with gangs. So I don't. I was blind by all that. There was no man in the house for him growing up. So he was around a bunch of ladies. Mother signed him off to his great grandmother, and she had control of him. That boy never, not one weekend went by that he came stay with me. That his great grandmama didn't call my house as soon as we got him to the house, and all kind of weird complaints and stuff. He needed to be back home. I had to actually take him back several times. Same time, she never gave him the chance to stay with him. It was always like they thought maybe somebody was gonna take him or something from him. And it never was like that. And once he got up 12, 13, then she wants to go and call me. want me to chastise the child or something. At that age, it was impossible. I would have had to fight him and all this here to get him, and I just couldn't see it. I mean, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been worse, I think, with me and him than it is now. If I had tried that, the areas that he stayed in, uh, it, all of them was bad. And with the guidance that he had, the parental guidance that he had, there was nothing left for him to choose going out in the street. We never denied him nothing. I offered him a bed in my house and food to eat, and he made that choice.
This explains assembles my time in prison. The clock got 2 arrows pointing to 10 twice, meaning in 20 years what I got. I've been betrayed so much by people who I thought loved me as far as dealing with women on the street, you know what I'm saying? Even women in my family, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really have no problem with accepting real love from whoever. The first time I fucked some ass was in 10 Dome at Limestone. I knew he was a boy, but what caught my interest because he lifted weights, you know. And at that time, I was often working out real heavy. He promised me, he said, man, I ain't gonna bring it to you. If you don't wanna fuck with another man, I ain't gonna pressure you to. So one night we was in the cell. We just had a t-shirt and some boxer shorts on. I didn't try to avoid the situation. I brought it to him. I cracked him for his ass. After that, I went and took a shower, cleaned myself up and everything. And I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt like I had just committed the ultimate sin. You know, I got back from him for a while because I had started having feelings that I didn't think were right. I started caring about this motherfucker. I mean, laying up in my bed thinking about him. I might be on the weight pile thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? I might see him talking to another dude, and I become angry on the inside. It was like jealousy, or I don't know what it was. I don't want to say love, you know what I'm saying, but it just something I couldn't explain. And I transfer. I go to another prison. I never seen him again.
Well, the first man I was with really, really messed my head up there for a while. I've had knives pulled on me. Uh, at that time, I was really more scared because this individual, more or less, I was, he was, I can't think of the word for it. Anyway, he was very dominant, very controlling. I couldn't talk to nobody, couldn't go anywhere without either him being there or something said about it. Anyway, he brought it to me. I cried. I definitely cried. There's many nights I remember walking back to my dorm after they cleared the count, and I'd cry on the way. You know, ask myself, how would I get into this? You know, and sometimes I'd ask God, how could how could this happen? Because it's something at the time I didn't understand at all.
It's going on 6 years now. 6 years. Maybe, we don't know, we don't judge. God, we're not going to say whether he did or whether he did not. The Lord, 6 years, God, ought to be long enough. God, 6 years, Lord, ought to be enough time.
They moved in here and before the baby came, and they had it furnished nice, and they had everything the baby could possibly want. The church and all gave him a beautiful shower. and everything seemed to be going great, but he would just work to death. And young, he was only 18. We believe in God and protection, and we prayed much and had churches, everyone praying for him, and always they'd pray for him at church. If a baby would cry at church, start to cry, well, she'd hear David hand her over to him. When he gets up, well, he picked the baby up and he got up. I guess he with his back turned to the wall and only about a foot space between them. See, we had this this bed sitting down inside of water bed, big frame, and he gets up on the back side and not very much space between him and the wall there. And I guess he bumped it. He says, Grandmother, he hardly knew what happened because he was half awake and all. But he bumped himself, kind of lost his balance. He threw the baby back on the bed. And she had thrown the covers back. When he got up, he threw them back, and it landed on the covers and just rolled right on off. And when he saw what was happening, he's fast. He grabbed for the baby and got it by the little leg, but it had already, by that time, it was far enough down and hit that frame was sitting down on, but all of it was on the floor at the time, and hit his little head. And it had such a beautiful head of dark hair, and you couldn't see anything was wrong with it. It just had a little bruise on the cheek, was the only sign you could see where it was hurt. They brought it against him as child abuse and murder. First manslaughter, and then they called it murder.
I didn't have enough years and time and knowledge under my belt to be a father and be really supportive and foresee things coming and know what to do about it to shape a young person's life, to really be the pillar that I should have been.
Now my son is 18 and married with a baby on the way. Half asleep, too tired to think. An accident occurred. Now the baby's dead and the charges are red. Murder in the first degree. Now my son's in prison. Wish I could set him free.
Well, when you're first coming in, that's what it makes you feel like. It makes you feel like that your life's on the line. That's the kind of positions they put you in. All those kind of threats come. I've been told that I'd be on TV. My folks would see me on TV, dead. Murdered in Limestone Penitentiary. So I've had my life threatened.
To eat and keep it on his stomach. And he'd had a homosexuals there and so forth. And he was afraid to go to the authorities because they had threatened him. And he didn't know what to do, so he called me. And I called a lieutenant immediately and moved David to a cell to himself. He didn't have a cell. He had to be out in the public with everybody. But they put him in a cell to protect him like that. And they moved him from that dorm to another place. So David was recuperated and was much happier.
I hope that those kind of experiences, being pimped out and the homosexual activity and such as that he's had to deal with in there, I hope that's something that when he gets out, he can put behind him, not have to talk about it or bring it up and just, let it die in his past and, kind of start fresh from day one when he gets out and create a new respectable life, Because, I never had a father, you know what I'm saying? But I always wanted a father. I like turning guys out. As far as being turned out already, especially by family members, I kind of felt sympathy for them.
I was probably about 6, and that happened with a family member,
Cousin.
uncle.
But at the time that the discussion, we got into the discussion about it, and I asked him, if Jimmy had been uh, touching him or messing with him, like he shouldn't have been. And he said, yeah, he chases me around the room, stuff like that. So I had to believe at that point he was telling me the truth, but David didn't come to me with any request for me to do anything specifically to the situation.
I mean, just imagine, man, you meeting a guy, you know what I'm saying? He's telling, hey, man, my father fucked me when I was 5 or 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? It kind of touched me because, see, I have a daughter, and, I just couldn't see doing nothing like that. It more so even made me want to be there for them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they were a weaker guy in prison. Guys run over them and abuse them and dog them out. So that it made me want to step up. You know what I'm saying? And be like a shield for them.
They might test you with horse playing, wrestling, you know what I'm saying? They might test you with little games like, just playing games like, let me feel on, they might say something like, let me feel on your pussy or whatever and see how he respond to it, you know what I'm saying? And they might try it anyway, do it and see what he do, you know what I'm saying, once does that. If he don't show, you know what I'm saying, no real stand, then you know what I'm saying, then they'll wind up, he'll wind up being a boy.
If you go against, maybe what your man wants or however, then that's whenever you broke the rules. You went against it, and there's always gonna be, it's from the old school. There's severe consequences for that.
Prisons in the South, a white guy pretty much has it hard. You know, uh, he'll be tested much quicker than a black inmate. You know,
There was this guy who was here before. He was a blood, and in Alabama, you know what I'm saying, a lot of places, you know what I'm saying, they don't believe in a white guy being a blood.
Yeah, that was the second part of the unedited version of the documentary. I'm gonna upload the third part here in a little bit. Uh, hopefully y'all enjoy it. And I'm trying to cut it off to where they begin the other story. Like right now, they're gonna start talking about the white blood, and that's a whole different video. But it's still it still begins on the other part of the video, so I have to chop it off right there and begin from there and go from the other one. So I'll drop the next one here in a little bit. Y'all enjoy it. Once again, we're gonna go live here in a little bit later on tonight with Bobby and Youngblood. We're gonna be talking prison politics, how they do it in Alabama compared to Texas. Bobby has not only has Bobby been in Texas federal state prisons, but he's also been in federal prisons. So he knows how both function and the politics on both uh I guess societies, because their societies, each one's different, state and federal. Okay, thank y'all so much. Y'all enjoy the show, and we're gonna continue this. Y'all have a good one.